face lifestyle decisions concerning alcohol abuse, tobacco use, illegal drug use, nutrition, physical activities, positive interpersonal relationships, unhealthy sexual practices, and other high-risk behaviors. Jim Matthews provides students, faculty, and staff and parents with critical information about college drinking in an entertaining and non-judgmental manner. Jim is the coordinator of health education at Merrimack College in Massachusetts. Prior to this position for 13 years, he was the assistant to the vice president of alcohol and other drug programs at Keene State College in New Hampshire, where the campus newspaper identified his courses as the most popular courses at Keene State. He received his Bachelor of Science degree from Manhattan College and his Master's in Education from Queens College, both in New York City. Jim is a certified trainer for the Prevention Research Institute, has a certificate in chemical dependency therapy, was a participant in the professional and residence program at the Betty Ford Center in California, and is the author of Beer, Booze, and Books, a sober look at higher education, the ABCs of college drinking, 25 tips for navigating the collegiate party scene, and the Parent's Guide to College Drinking, Facing the Challenge Together. Please sign in at the end of the presentation so we can let your FIS professors and coaches know that you attended. And Keystone College in the concert and lecture series is happy to welcome Jim Matthews.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Gina. Well done. I want to welcome all of you. And a couple of other things about myself before we start the program. I am originally from New York City. All right, okay. Born and raised. I was just telling some of the players here from the baseball team, we'll get you out by about the third or fourth inning. Okay, for tonight's game. But anyway, born and raised in New York City. I did go through college in the late 60s. Those of you that have read your history books know that there was a lot of alcohol and other drug use on the campuses at that time. And quite frankly, I indulged. As a matter of fact, I indulged quite heavily. And it's always interesting to me when I mention that to a college audience. Once in a while, there's somebody in the audience who goes, "All right, Jim, where you go?" You know, as if I should be proud of my drug use. As if I should be proud of the way I hurt the people that I hurt. As if I should be proud of the crazy things that I did. But I'm not here to tell you about how crazy I was, because that's not going to do you any good. What I am going to do is give you some information about alcohol, and I guarantee that most, if not all of you, will leave here with at least 10 pieces of information about alcohol that you never knew before. And what I would like to do now is have everybody take out your cell phone. Take out your cell phone and turn it on. Turn your cell phones on if you've got a cell phone. Okay? Turn your cell phones on, please. During the program, we are going to be doing some surveys, and you are going to answer the questions to the survey through your cell phone by either texting or if you have a smartphone, going to that website up there. Now, a couple of things before we get into this. All right, first of all, I would appreciate it if you would minimize any other use of your cell phone other than answering the survey questions. We'll be doing about 7 or 8 of them. Now, I know how tempting it is. I told you to put it out and kind of keep it handy. And I know how some of your students are. I have a son. He's 19 years old. And I can sit in the living room with him, and he's sitting there on the couch. He's got the TV going. He's texting on his cell phone. He's got the laptop going. He's chatting over there, and he's doing his homework. And he's got a little YouTube going on the side. Okay? Now, I can't say anything to him because he's got a 3.9 index. What am I going to say? Stop doing that? No, he's doing it right. The problem is, though, when I'd be sitting with him and I'd say to him, "Hey, Ryan," blah, 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 whatever it was. And I get one of these. You're familiar with this. I get one of these. What'd you say? And, it's usually about a 4 or 5 count, all right? I'm the last one on that list of priorities. So anyway, I would appreciate it if you kind of minimize any of that kind of use of your cell phone during the program, okay? Now, as far as the cell phone goes, you'll be texting your answers to that number up there, 22333. That's the address for your answers. Every answer will go to 22333. This is all anonymous. There is absolutely no way for me to know who you are, who's giving what answer, or whatever. It's totally anonymous, it's private, I do not know. All I know is the group answer. We'll be getting the group's responses, okay? You will not be contacted by any service by me or anything like that at all. The reason I mentioned that to you is that I want to encourage honesty. Be honest. There's no way that anybody knows, so please be honest, okay? That's how we get the best results when we do this, if you're honest, right? A couple of other things, regular text message charges apply. Most of you have it limited, so it doesn't quite matter. Some of the other things, only answer one time. You're going to get some kind of a bounce back message if you answer more than once for one question. And, I guess that's about, turn your cell phones to silent. Okay? If you do not have a cell phone, that's okay. It's quite all right. If you have a cell phone and you choose not to answer, that's quite all right. If you want to answer just one or two questions, that's all right too. Okay? So let's try this out. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Now, before you give any answer, okay, the answer is your text message will be the code number over on the right. All right? Not the words themselves. The code on the right. That will be your message. So you will text to 22333 and put that number into your message box. As you are doing that, I will be transferring over to the internet. Hopefully the internet is working good enough for us to do this. We may need to cancel that if we don't get a powerful enough signal. But we did do okay before. Now, as I switch to the internet, don't panic because you didn't get your number in there on time. The numbers will come up again. You'll still have an opportunity to do that. So now, as we go to the internet, whoa! So, whoa! Okay, so I guess I can count on all of you to be honest. Okay? Because you want to get the hell out of here. I understand that. I understand, okay? But as far as this process goes, as I mentioned to you, the numbers will come up again. If you didn't get them in on time, those are the numbers there at the bottom there. Those are the numbers that you saw over there, the code numbers, okay? So we got that system down, right? We're okay with that? And you want to get the hell out of here, all right? Let's see how we do as we go along. It looks to me like I got my job cut out for me, right? I got some work to do, and I think we're going to be doing okay, though. Just in terms of walking around and talking to a few people, I think we'll do all right. Anyway, we put the cell phones aside for now. We learned about alcohol at a very early age, and we learned about it in a number of ways, okay? We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But what are the two messages that we constantly get? We get don't drink when you're underage, and don't drink and drive. Two very important messages. Very important messages. Don't drink underage. It's illegal. The fact of the matter is, I can make a very good case for lowering the drinking age to 18. I can make a very good case for that. It's amazing how the United States and 5 other countries are the only ones in the world that have a 21-year-old drinking age. What's interesting, too, though, is I can make a very good case for raising the drinking age to 25 as well. But I don't get into that. All right? You folks know the legal stuff. You know all of that, so I don't have to deal with that. The other thing, too, is don't drink and drive. Very important message. Extremely important message. The problem is, though, as we concentrate so much on these two vital messages, we tend to forget about all of the other things that we need to be concerned about if we're making that choice to consume alcohol. All right? Now, as I mentioned, we do learn about it at an early age. And we learn about it in many different ways. Things like this. Kind of an interesting message there. How about this one? saw some of you ladies had the head bob going. Rock and roll, beauty of the beast. I saw that. Okay. Now, isn't that an interesting message, though, about alcohol and violence? We talked about that a little bit. Isn't that an interesting message about alcohol and what it means to be a man? Now, I see we've got a lot of guys in the audience. Gentlemen, during my programs, I pick on guys. I pick on guys because I know what you guys are like. I know what you guys are like because I used to be one of you guys. Okay? But what happened was, no, it wasn't that. What happened was, God gave me a daughter. Karma's a bitch. I'll tell you what, God has a sense of humor. Man. But I gotta tell you, when that little girl came into my life, guys, my thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs about an awful lot of things changed quite dramatically overnight. I'm not telling you you gotta change your mind just because I say something, but hopefully you'll just give it a little thought, all right? And if what I say does not apply to you, then I suspect that you're a better young man than I was when I was in college. I think, though, that I might be challenging some of your thoughts and attitudes. So just give it some thought, okay? Anyway, we learned about it in the commercials. You know, we got all these cartoon characters. If we go kind of back in time, there's any number of characters that we've seen. This guy.
No, this morning needs spots mechanics.
Ladies, let me suggest that if Spuds gives motion to your ocean, you got issues. That's a whole other program that I don't deal with, all right? But yeah, how about this was one of my favorites here.
Frank is so well behaved.
Yeah, we're best buddies. We're gonna grab some Bud Lights.
Okay, you're so cute.
I think you're cute too. Maybe I do a little bit more than just talk. Well, let's have a chit chat upstairs, or we can, you know. Oh, here it comes. Act natural.
Fresh.
Great stuff. It's great stuff. I love it. But now we know that based on a lot of different influences, some middle school kids pick up, some high school kids drink. Right? We know that, and it makes a lot of sense to me. After all, what's one of the most important things to a 14, 15, 16-year-old is to look older. And we're telling them, don't drink this stuff until you're older. We've just given them a fast track to being older, okay? And the ads know it too. Oh, be a little older, okay? Oh, you can be more mature. You can actually become a hero. Here's my hero.
Alright, how else can we get alcohol?
You guys, son,
Let me see.
what? No, it's flawless.
Hawaii. Alright, that's good. Perfect choice, I guess. Wait, you changed your name to McLovin? You know, it's gonna work. It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible. I mean, it's up to you, Fogle. This guy's either gonna think, here's another kid with a fake ID, or here is McLovin, a 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor. What's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
I am McLovin. He's a hero now. He's got the ID. He can get the booze, all right? Now, I got a question for you, all right? Question time. I want you to answer that question there. What do you believe about alcohol? Let me hear from you. What do you believe about alcohol? It's never a good idea to get drunk. Okay, but get drunk with some drink, but never get drunk. Okay. What's your attitude about alcohol? Again, just putting in the number, all right? I'm going to switch to the internet now. Don't panic. The numbers will come up. The numbers will be up there again. If you didn't get them in time, see right there, right along the bottom, you can still add those numbers in. If you didn't get your answer right. All right. So, well, we've got about, let's see, about 10, well, we've got about 70% or so, I'm going to say, or even a little bit more. Now, we could say generally has a low-risk attitude about alcohol. Okay? You're okay to get drunk once in a while. That's kind of borderline. We're going to be showing you why. Okay? That can be low risk, but getting drunk can be risky. We'll be talking a little bit about that. What we can say over there, the folks over here, way over on the right, it's okay to get drunk even if it interferes. Just don't talk to me about it. What we can say about those folks is that they have a high risk attitude about alcohol. I'm not saying you're right, you're wrong. I'm not saying you're good, you're bad. Right? That's not up to me. I'm not going to be making any judgments. You are going to be making some observations. And we know that kind of attitude can lead to some problems with alcohol. Okay? Now, during the program, what we're going to do is look at three things. We're going to be looking at drinks, we're going to be looking at low-risk drinking, and we're going to be looking at the risks associated with high-risk drinking. Okay? Those who do choose to get drunk. All right? So first of all, drinks. Let's talk about drinks. Right? Which one of these drinks? This isn't a survey for the test. Okay? This is just a question to all of you as a group. Which one of those contains the most alcohol? 12 ounce beer, 12 ounce wine, cooler, 1 ounce shot, 1 ounce crude, 4 ounce glass of wine. They're all the same. Can you hear it? All the same. Okay. I asked that question, and I didn't do it as a test because I know if you did run the survey, I get about 90% of you or so would say it's all the same. And it makes sense that you would say that, because that's when we do surveys and all, we always group them all together, right? Or your health teacher back in high school told you they're all the same. Let's take a look and see if, in fact, that's true, that they're all the same. So first of all, beer, right? When we look at beer, by the way, I know we got the low-carb beers out there. Just because it's low-carb, it doesn't mean you can drink twice as much. It's low-carb. It doesn't mean that beer has now become a health drink, a diet aid. Hey, have a beer before you go out for your run. Yeah, great idea. It's low-carb. Right? Beer, average beer, is 4% by volume. 4% of 12 ounces means that in one 12-ounce beer, I have a half ounce of pure alcohol. Okay? Now, a glass of wine. Notice that's a 5-ounce glass and a 4-ounce serving, because that's how you drink wine. Because what you're going to do now is you're going to take that glass and you swirl the glass. Look how quiet it is here. After you sit there going, damn! Keystone paid this guy to come in here to teach us how to drink. Cool, right? Well, we know that about 80% of college students do consume alcohol. And most do so at a low risk level. We know that. So understand, information does not mean permission. I'm not condoning it, I'm not condemning it. All right? But I think it's very important that you have information about that choice. Now you swirl the glass so that the wine coats the inside of the glass, and you kind of look at it and you go, whoa, nice legs. That's the way the wine is dripping down inside the glass. That also releases the bouquet, the aroma, the fragrance of the wine. That's part of the experience of drinking wine. Regular table wine, 12% by volume. 12% of 4 ounces, half ounce of pure alcohol. Right? 3.5 ounces of grape juice, if you will. 1 ounce shot of 100 proof. Proof is twice the volume. Something that is 100 proof is 50% by volume. So a 1 ounce shot of 100 proof means I've got 50% alcohol. Another way of saying that is 1.5 ounces of 80 proof. 40% of 1.5 ounces is about just a little bit more than 1/2 ounce of alcohol. Okay? So here's the one though that surprises everybody: the wine cooler. And ladies, the message there is, I'm sorry, if you don't measure up, you're not quite the real stuff. Okay? And maybe this kind of advertising is contributing to the fact that about 5 to 7% of college students dealing with an eating disorder, perhaps because they're trying to live up to that representation of reality. I hate to blow anybody's fantasy, but that's reality there. I was on a campus once, and one guy looks at the other guy and goes, well, she still looks pretty good, dude. So, well, you like the scars, the plastic, it's up to you. But anyway, wine coolers have a range from 3 to 8%. The average wine cooler is about 6% by volume. 6% of 12 ounces means what? In one 12-ounce wine cooler, I've got 3/4 of an ounce of alcohol. There's a range, so you know which it is, but the average is 6%. What do we got? You guys drinking beer, right? The guys are all macho. And the women are drinking this so-called sissy drink, the wine cooler. In the meantime, they're drinking 50% more alcohol drink than the guys. You're not supposed to be proud of that, ladies. She's got this, yahoo, yeah! So, Did you ever notice? Beer is sold a 6-pack. Wine coolers are sold today 4-pack. If it's a 6-pack of average beer, a 4-pack of average wine cooler, 6-pack equals 4-pack. I'm not telling you that, guys, so you'll go out and drink wine coolers. Okay? But I think it's important that you know that. All right? Again, if we're talking about a drink, we're talking about a half ounce of pure alcohol. All right? It just happens to come packaged many different ways. A couple of other drinks I want to mention: the malt liquors, the iced beers. Okay? A lot more alcohol in those. It really varies, but usually a lot more than your average beer. The Alka Pops, that's the Smirnoff drinks and the Mike's Hard Lemonade and those things, they're about 5% by volume, a little bit more than your average beer. The fortified wines, things like Mad Dog 2020, Thunderbird, you know, the good shit. That's the brown paper bag stuff. Okay, Cisco is another one of those. Cisco, 20% by volume. One 12-ounce bottle is equal to 5 drinks. Also known as liquid crack, leading cause of alcohol poisoning in the inner city. All right? How about when you go to the party and you got punch in the party? Oh, I forgot. Oh yes, Four Loko. Forgot about that one. Okay. Little history lesson here. Four Loko back in 2010 had a lot of stimulants in it. Doesn't have any stimulants in it now because of the problems associated with it. However, what they did do is jack up the alcohol volume in it. Now, in different states, it really varies as to what the percentage is. All right, and what the size serving is. My understanding is here in Pennsylvania, you can get a 23.5-ounce serving can, all right, and it's 12% by volume. Do the math on it. 12% of 23.5 ounces equals 2.8 ounces of pure alcohol. And what did I say? One drink is equal to a half ounce of pure alcohol. One can, 5+ drinks in one can. If I drank one can in 1 hour, me as a 200-pound guy, okay, as a 200-pound male, my blood alcohol level after one can is a 0.1. 0.1. Illegal, 0.08. So all you have to do, folks, is go on the web and take a look and do the math on it and see what the blood alcohol level is for you if, in fact, you're choosing to drink some of these more risky drinks. Very, very dangerous drink because of the high volume of alcohol. Okay, so the point is, all right, know what you're putting in your body. Now you go to a party, how much alcohol is in the punch? I don't know, I just drink it. The amount of alcohol in the punch is based on the ethics of the people mixing it.
What about this old LO punch? Yes, prepared and tested. 5 parts champagne, 1 part Everclear, sugar to taste, the old leg opener special.
We could have used a little bit more persuasion juice at the last party.
Oh, leg opener special, persuasion juice. I was on campus once, and I said to the audience, a number of years back, I said to the audience, listen, my daughter is 18 years old, and she's going to be on a college campus in the fall. And just as I said that, a guy in the audience yells out, "Bring her on!" Yeah. Now, I think as you can tell here, I like to interact with the audience. He and I interacted. Kind of leaned over to him, I said, would you like to stand up and let everybody else know how it is that you feel about women? Bring her on. I said, you know what, maybe somebody right now is thinking about using persuasion juice in your girlfriend. Maybe right now somebody's thinking about using persuasion juice in your future wife. I said, hey, maybe right now somebody's thinking about using leg opener special on your sister. Ooh. Got kind of ugly, you know? Got kind of ugly in that room, right? So you got to be careful about the things that you say. And it all starts with some of this different type of humor that you get. You got to be real careful about. And you ain't going to mess around with my daughter in that kind of way, all right? And I know you're thinking about your girlfriend, your future wife, and your sister, and hopefully you're thinking the same thing when somebody says something about them, all right? Anyway, again, if you choose to drink, know what it is that you're drinking. All right. One other drink I want to mention here: the alcohol mixed with the energy drinks. Back to that Four Loko thing. Although that's not an energy drink, you can still get the pre-mixed energy drinks with alcohol, or you do the vodka Red Bull, or you do the Jaeger bombs, the Jaeger and Red Bull. Those. Understand something. The issue with this is what we're doing in drinking those is mixing a stimulant with a depressant. The body does not know how to react to that. Up there, in and out, it's clueless. It doesn't know what to do. Now, I hope you'll notice, I'm not a scare tactics guy. I don't do that. I just give you information. This happens to be kind of scary, in particular for people who have any kind of a heart condition. And the problem is, many young folks who may have a heart condition don't know it until there's some major event. This mixing into it is very dangerous this way. The other concern we have about this is that, you've heard this before, never give a drunk a cup of coffee. You don't want to give a drunk a cup of coffee because what do you wind up with? A wide awake drunk. Wonderful. And he thinks he can dance. And he thinks he can sing. And he's wide awake now. Great. That's what's going on here too. The person who's mixing these drinks, the stimulant with the depressant, the stimulant negates that depressant side of it so they're wide awake, but they are still impaired. The impairment level is still there, even though they're wide awake. It's a very dangerous combination, okay? So now that you know the amount of alcohol in drinks, I want you to think about this group right here. How many drinks per week, given what you know now about drinks, how many drinks per week do you think the typical person in this group drinks? Now don't give that number here. Give the code number in yellow. Don't forget that. You use the code number. Don't put 4 to 6 drinks. Use the code. How many drinks per week? The typical person in this group. All right? Let's take a look and see what you think of the typical person in this group. Whoa! So, what you're suggesting, I'm gonna kind of round this off and say that you're suggesting the typical person in this group drinks about 9 or 10 drinks, okay, per week. All right, fair enough? How about you? How many drinks per week do you drink? Okay, be honest. Okay, there's no way for me to tell, so pick your answer now. How many drinks per week do you drink? It's on. Whenever I do this, and we come up with this response, I was talking about this earlier with a group of students earlier, I said, guarantee this is going to happen. I told them this is what's going to happen. But I said, I don't know what the difference is going to be, but there's going to be a difference. And what I generally hear the audience say, liar. You were honest enough to tell me you wanted to get the hell out of here, but you're not honest to tell me how many drinks you drink? No, most people are honest on these surveys. Most people are. Do some people lie? Yes. You know what? Some people lie in the low end. Some people lie on the high end. Okay? Guess what? That kind of balances out. The fact of the matter is, this is what I've done this over 100 on, I don't know how many times on how many campuses, never fails. This always happens. See, the fact of the matter is, most college students either don't drink, or if they do drink, they drink at a low risk level. When we're looking at what, we got 45, 65, 75, you got about 75% or so of students who are in here over to here. We can say that that's probably low risk drinking. Might be illegal, I'm not getting into that, all right? But that might be low risk. What we can also say down here though, is that we've got about 20% or so of students who are drinking at a high risk level. Maybe. See, the thing is that 10 plus per week, maybe that's 14. Maybe that's some guy who's figured out this is I drink 14 a week. I can't say whether that's high risk or low risk yet, because the next question has to be, how many times per week do you drink? See, if it's 1 or 2 a day, he's got 14 in the week. That's low risk consumption. As a matter of fact, there are some health benefits associated with that. 1 or 2 a day for men, 1 for women. There are some health benefits associated with that, with some conditions. You have to check that out. See, the thing is, though, if those 14 were through a funnel on Friday night, we got issues. Okay? But again, most of you have it together. Now, you have this reputation as college students of being a bunch of drunks. Take Keystone off your sweatshirt, just put drunk. They'll all know what you're talking about. You're a college student. All right? That's the reputation you have. The fact of the matter is, most of you are doing okay. And some of you are pissed off because you haven't come here and you don't drink. And I don't blame you. All right? Hopefully what you'll do, though, is take this information as support for that choice. Hopefully you'll take this information and share it with other people. Okay? Now, why do you have this reputation of being a bunch of drunks? Well, just take a look at the newspapers. How often do you hear about the Habitat for Humanity the college students do? How often do you hear about the river cleanups, the Big Brother, the Big Sister programs, the visits to the hospital, the visits to the elderly? You don't hear about that. I guarantee none of you heard about the 200 athletes I worked with at the University of Florida one year who were helping out all the people that got hit by the hurricanes down there. You didn't hear about that. But God forbid one of you gets drunk. Headlines. And I know we got athletes in here. Athletes, if you get drunk and get caught, bigger headlines. That ain't fair. Get over it. That's the fact. Okay? That's what they do. They play it up, and it makes you look like a bunch of drunks. But you also do it to yourselves. I know you've been in the dining hall already, and there's been that bozo. There's always that bozo. Oh, man, I was so shit-faced last night. You know that guy. Don't point. You know that guy. All right? There's always that guy. I guarantee you'll never hear this in the dining hall. Oh, man, I was so sober last night. We don't do that. Okay? We just don't do that. Okay? Or, you go to the party, right? You go to the party. You have a good old time at the party. The next day, what do you think about? You think about that high-profile group. You think about those 2 guys that get into a fight. You think about that couple that was hooking up in the corner. You think about that woman that was vomiting in the bushes. And of course, there was the guy who was taking the lead up against the tree. Okay? And ladies, by a little tip, ladies, for us guys, you know this, guys. When we get drunk, anything vertical, urinal. Okay? So if you're at a party, at a bar, don't stand still too long. Could get out of it. But, anyway, you have this reputation, but most of you are doing okay. Alright? And again, take this as support for it. We're going to be coming back to some of that information a little later. So, when we look at that 7 to 9, that 10 plus, as I said, we can look at that as being some high-risk drinking. Okay? For most people. Some of the women who might be drinking 6, and they're small women, that might be high risk for them. Alright? You're going to take a look and see, because if you drink to about a 0.05 blood alcohol level, which varies for everybody, a 0.05 is where we kind of get that buzz for most people, unless you have high tolerance. Alright? But a 0.05 is kind of that buzz. The mistake we make is we think, gee, 0.05 feels good, 0.1 must be so much better. 0.2 must be ecstatic. 0.3 out of this world. Yeah, out of this world. You're in trouble. Okay? We drink everything. See, after 0.05, it doesn't get any better than that. It does not get any better. Point of diminishing returns. So we drink to that 0.05, and that varies with each person. You need to check that out. Okay? But anyway, what about if I'm getting impaired? What are the risks associated with that? Okay, certainly alcohol poisoning. If you die from an overdose of alcohol, alcohol is a depressive drug, will depress our central nervous system so much so that our heart stops beating, we stop breathing, and we get shipped off to the hospital. Maybe you have to get our stomach pumped, get an IV, get charcoal thrown down our gut, all those kinds of wonderful things. Why does this happen that college students drink so much they have to get shipped off? Well, certainly things like drinking games, or how about drinking games, mostly associated with sexual manipulation, by the way. But how about funneling and chugging? That's your generation's version of my generation's. Okay, again, doing the math on that. If any one of you were to do that with a bottle of JD, if I were to do that with a bottle of JD, my blood alcohol level is going to be well over a 0.5. Well over 0.5. 0.08, drinking and driving violation, okay? Well over a 0.5. That's if you don't vomit. You know, talking to God through the great white telephone. Oh God! Forgive me! Oh God! Oh, you know, we get so religious at such odd times. Even the atheists see God, right? They're religion all of a sudden. Yeah. The vomiting actually protects us. We've got a valve between our stomach and our small intestine that's called the pyloric valve. And what will happen is if our blood alcohol level gets up too high, the valve closes. So anything that goes in goes back out where it came from. The problem is, sometimes it just doesn't work, okay? When we start getting around that 0.3 blood alcohol level, we're starting to look at coma. When we start looking at a 0.4 blood alcohol level, we're starting to look at risk of death. 0.5, death is barely likely, okay? Again, do the math on it and take a look at some of this 4 logo and some of the places some people have been putting themselves into, all right? But anyway, signs and symptoms of alcohol poisoning. Cold, clammy skin, faint heartbeat, faint breathing, erratic heartbeat, erratic breathing, a shaky person, don't wake up. Got a question for you, survey question. Before you answer, I want you to picture yourself back in your residence hall, in the hallway, in your room, somewhere laid out with these symptoms. You are exhibiting those symptoms. I want you to picture yourself right there. Now I want you to picture somebody walking up to you and finding you like that. What do you want that person to do if they find you like that? Or what do you wish the person would have done last week? Alright? Cold, clammy skin, erratic heartbeat, faint heartbeat, erratic breathing, faint breathing. You wake up, they shake you, pinch you, shout your name, you don't wake up. What do you want that person to do? Get help? Or let you sleep it off? Alright. We've got about 65 to 70% of you are saying, get me help. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the problem here. How do you tell whether or not somebody is sleeping it off or dying? You can't. You need professional help. That 30% or so, you're relying on people who don't know what the hell is going on. Alright? The 70%, they're saying, get me help. So, you look around, all of your peers, 70% of your peers are saying, get me help if you ever find me like that. So get the person help and don't assume other people are doing it. It's one of the #1 reasons why people don't get help. They think that somebody else is getting help for them. Don't worry about duplicating the attempt. Alright? For the other 30%, get them help anyway. Alright? Oh, maybe you're going to get angry. Which would you rather have the next day? An angry friend or a dead friend? Now, another risk with high-risk drinking, violence. We know on our college campuses more often than not when alcohol is involved, when violence is there, alcohol is involved. Okay? 90% of violent campus crime, alcohol related. It's funny stuff, it really is. Believe me, I've got a sense of humor. I do. It's very funny stuff. But what I challenge you to do as you look at some of these things is to step outside the humor and think about that. Look at how that minimizes that link between alcohol and violence. And those of you that are coming from families where there's been some domestic violence, more often than not there's some alcohol involved. Okay? By the way, during the program, I am going to be making some of you feel a little comfortable because they're going to be touching home. All right? And if I'm making you feel a little uncomfortable at times, I apologize. But also maybe that'll motivate you to get a little help around that. Talk about that a little further as we go on. But anyway, alcohol, more often than not, involved in violence. And they had like this: some people embrace the night because the rules of the day don't apply. Somehow the rules of the day don't apply. All right, we're talking about sexual assault on our campuses. More often than not, alcohol is involved. More often than not, it is male and female. And more often than not, the people do know each other. All right? So, again, there's some things we can joke about, some other things we can't joke about. Obviously, you can't joke about this. If you see somebody put himself in a dangerous situation, be sure you help them out, because one of the first things that goes when we're consuming alcohol is our judgment. It's one of the first things that goes. Okay? So help the person out. And again, if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, I apologize. If you know somebody who's gone through this, if you've gone through this, get yourself some help. It has both long-term and short-term impacts on the people involved. Okay. Now, hangovers, everybody's favorite experience when it comes to alcohol.
At least in the morning and in the afternoon. Shot. Just kind of like a waste of a day.
Really bad, just constant feeling of, can I swear? Shittiness, just absolute shittiness. Really bad feeling, nauseousness, achiness.
It was awful. Just, I didn't feel like doing anything. My head hurt, sleeping. It was a waste of a day.
Yes, I have experienced a hangover once, and that was terrible. The whole next day I felt I couldn't get out of bed. I felt so sick. It was terrible, and I swore to myself I would never have that happen to me again.
Just slept it off. I couldn't move.
Unfortunately, I've had more than my fair share of hangovers. Usually, to cure it, I stay in bed until like 7 o'clock the next night. And if I'm lucky, I don't have class the day I have a hangover.
Okay, as far as hangovers go, there are no cures for hangovers. If you have a cure for a hangover, it works because you think it works. It's the power of the mind, okay? Some people say drink a lot of water. It is important for you to rehydrate the next day, in particular athletes, okay? The problem is, though, if you're chugging water, chugging Gatorade the next day, it's disrupting the water balance of the brain and making the headache worse. Some people say aspirin, acetaminophen, ibuprofen. If you're taking any of those pain relievers the next day, it's very bad for your liver, very bad for your stomach. If you have any traces of alcohol in your stomach, in your system, which you probably do, all right? Some people say drink more the next day. And there is a relative degree of truth to that one. Now, don't think I'm telling you to drink to cure your hangovers, okay? But let me give you an analogy. And the analogy is I'm standing chest high in a pool of water, and I have an inflated ball. If I take that inflated ball and I compress it under the water, let the ball go, what's going to happen to the ball? It'll pop up, right? Not just going to go to the water line, it's going to rebound a little, come back down. Depress, depress, depress. Let it go, rebounds, comes back down. Picture that ball as my central nervous system. I'm drinking the depressant drug alcohol. Okay? Depress, depress, depress. Stop drinking. What happens to my central nervous system? It rebounds. I don't go back to normal. Do you ever notice somebody's got a hangover? Very shaky, very irritable, easily agitated. They're in the rebound. And what can you do to get out of the rebound? Oh, a little bit of alcohol to calm you back down. But I'm not saying to drink to cure hangovers. Alcohol is a drug. It's potentially an addictive drug. When we get drunk, that's a drug overdose. A hangover is a mild form of withdrawal from that overdose. And drinking, using a drug, smoke a bowl, using a drug to deal with withdrawal is an addictive behavior pattern. That's what addicts do, okay? Now, the industry likes to glorify morning drinking. That's morning drinking there. That's morning drinking. Or how about this one? That's That's morning drinking, okay? It's not the champagne and the mimosas, Bloody Marys. That's morning drinking. Now, we know that alcohol can impact our academic performance. The more we drink, probably the worse GPA. We know that. This is what students report. I'm not telling you this is what's going to happen. This is what students tell us when we survey. That's what students say. Now, there are some people who will drink 10 plus and still get an A. Here are the exceptions to the rule. There are some people who do that. They can party on the street, but they're the exception. Don't take this us off. Okay? But they're out there. More likely than not, this is what can happen. All right? Now, why is that? Well, the people drinking the most are probably missing the most classes.
People that I know that are crazy drinkers, I don't think their grades are all that high. So, drinking, it damages your academic career.
Yeah, my freshman year especially, I did a lot of that. I had some more early morning classes like a lot of freshmen tend to have, and I just didn't really take care of myself that way.
I know certain people can come into class and if they're hungover, they just can't deal with it, so they end up leaving class earlier.
I missed a class or two because of that. Sometimes the morning classes. I usually don't drink on school nights. Sometimes Thursday nights when you only have one class on a Friday or something like that.
Missed the whole semester once.
Whoa. Okay, I'm going to move past this question here. That question was, how many hours per week do you study? I'm just going to put in a little suggestion here. Maybe you've heard this from some of your faculty members. It is suggested that for every hour you're in class, you put in 2 hours of study or homework. Every hour in class, 2 hours of study and homework. Most of you may be carrying around 15 hours in the class. That's 30 hours of studying and doing homework. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now full-time students. Your job is a full-time student. That's what you do for a living right now. You may do extracurricular things, athletics and clubs and organizations. You're a full-time student, so keep that in mind, please. So let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Okay, sex sells. I've got your attention now, don't I? Okay? Yeah, sex. I've got your attention. Even those of you, I saw some of you texting. Whether you were either texting or examining your genitals. It's always odd seeing that blue light emanating from your crotchal region. What's going on there? Anyway, okay? Sex, I got your attention. Sex sells, the industry knows it. It uses sex to sell all the time. Over on the right, let me confess to all of you, I admire the uniform, in particular women. And when I look at that end over on the right, I see that there are very attractive women. And that's how we're going to culture it, to see attractive women. Okay? Isn't it interesting, though, how they're all in a submissive position? Covering their eyes, covering their faces, face down one way or the other. And the two guys are in the dominant position. Kind of interesting there, huh? How about this imagery? Kind of odd. How about the way this woman here is gently fondling her bottle and ball? Nothing happens by accident, folks. We over and over again. I got a friend of mine, he's a photographer for the alcohol advertising industry. Every little thing, everything is thought out. All the imagery, okay? All of the text, always very suggestive, okay? Now, and our gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender populations, not immune to this. All races, all creeds, everybody is targeted here. Like in this ad here, okay? This ad here is taken from magazine, it's a print ad. It says fold A to B. And if we fold A to B, what do we have? We have the two guys hooking up there. Okay? Yeah. All right, see, nobody is immune to this advertising. Okay? Now, we know that sex does facilitate sexual activity. After all, what happens? What happens? Why do people crime? Why do people pregame? Why do they do that? In order to tap into their social skills, their ability to connect. The problem is, as we're using alcohol to help us socialize, our ability to socialize gets locked in the bottle. Our confidence gets locked in the bottle. The more often we use it to help us socialize, the more reliant we become. Have you ever heard somebody say, I can't dance unless I get a couple of drinks to me first? reliance upon alcohol to socialize. I'm not saying don't drink, but be careful about using that and developing your social skills. We become reliant upon it. But yes, it does facilitate sexual activity. This area here, it says, get things started. I suspect that it is not a conversation about the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? You don't need to take your pants off to discuss the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? But yeah, very suggestive. But it does facilitate sexual activity. However, what's interesting, in one piece of research, 50% of the student survey said they engaged in sexual activity they would not have had they not been under the influence of alcohol. And some of you are saying, yeah! Well, the problem is, though, that 50% also reports regretting the activity. Now, why is it that they regret it? Maybe it's got something to do with the magic of alcohol. This end here is tonic, juice, rocks, magic. See, the fact of the matter is, alcohol is magical. It is. See, I know, when I drink, I get better looking. I do. I get much better looking when I drink. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you go to the party, about 9 o'clock at night, you look across the room and you go, nah, it's not my time. That's at 9 o'clock. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, the magic takes over, doesn't it? Amazing how this happens. Yeah. We put on them old beer goggles. I was on a campus once, actually, at Keystone University, talking to all the sororities there, and I got to the beer goggles thing. I said, yeah, beer goggles. And there were a couple of women sitting in the front, they looked kind of puzzled. I said, okay, let me explain to you beer goggles. There's a bar down the corner, you women are in there and you're having a few beers. I come walking into that bar, your reaction to me when I walk into that bar is, get that guy out of here. What's that old guy doing? I said, yeah, that should be actually 3 or 9 o'clock. I said, but you know what? You get a few beers in you and all of a sudden, you must have me. I see you. Stop hiding me. You. It's that ridiculous to even think, huh? She's over there. Oh, funny. That's okay. You can laugh all you want. Because at Keystone University, I said to the women in the front, I said, yeah, you get a few beers in you, and all of a sudden you must have me. One woman looked at the other woman and she goes, whoa, that's a lot of beer. Anyway, no, what are we doing with the next day? With that morning after, huh? Yeah. And what happens after that? Ooh, yeah. Walk of shame, okay? Now again, I've got a sense of humor. When you step outside the humor and think about this word shame, it's a very powerful word, very powerful emotion. And how is it that we might deal with that? Now, question for you. I want you to think back to this group again. That typical person in this group. Think about that typical person in this group. How many times per week does a typical person in this group have sex with another person? How many times a week does the typical person in this group have sex with another person? Did he just say that? Okay. Think about that typical person. How many times per week does the typical person in this group have sex? Okay. Happening. Alrighty. Okay, so Didn't she? I don't know. Takes some people a while. Anyway, yeah. So that's what you are projecting. Whoop. All right. How about you? How many times per week do you have sex with another person? How many times per week do you have sex with another person? I get very concerned when I see calculators come out. Okay, be honest. Be honest. Probably president of the Keystone chapter of Sex Without Partners. His girlfriend's name is .com. Okay, but one point. Most college students are not sexually active on a regular basis. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, maybe that somebody didn't hear me when I said with another person, where I has very active fantasy life. No, I gotta be careful when I do that. I gotta be careful when I joke about that. Because I do this in class, and it never fails. It never fails, ladies and gentlemen. I did this in class once, and I made that comment about 7+, fantasy life for, another person. And at the end of the class, this woman came up to me and she goes, Jim, I was very offended by what you said about that 7+. My boyfriend and I happen to have a very active, healthy, incredible sex life, okay? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, chill out. I'm jealous, I'm just, she's getting me cool. But no, okay, really, most college students are not sexually active on a regular basis. Most are not, okay? And we're just reinforcing that again. Okay? Yeah, very important question, folks. Very important question. Within the past year, have you engaged in unprotected sex? Within the past year, have you engaged in unprotected sex? Chance of getting hit by a car. Gonna be a little more careful person in the street? Hell yeah. Okay? You folks are dealing with a lot more dangerous kinds of things out there than I had to deal with when I was in college, folks. Alright? Yeah, one more thing that alcohol is I'm gonna be wrapping it up in just a little bit, okay? One more thing that alcohol is an aphrodisiac. You gotta get it now? Some kind of sexual stimulant, right? Yeah. See, now you're getting perverted. I got you thinking weird ways now. If only that were true. See, the fact of the matter is, with too much alcohol, this may be a problem. I'm not quite sure what it is that Crown Royal's advertising there, but isn't that an odd image? It takes some people a little longer than others to get it. Okay, for those of you who don't understand, right? Too much alcohol can impair a man's ability to attain an erection, as well as a woman's ability to achieve an orgasm. See, physiologically speaking, that process is very similar. Plumbing's a little different, process pretty much the same. Okay? I think God has a sense of humor. Think about it. Here it is. Here it is, folks. Check it out. That special night. You got the wine. You got the champagne. You got the flowers, the music, the candles. It's all happening. Toast, yeah. Toast, yeah. Toast, yes, to you and I. About 1 o'clock in the morning. Ready, dear? That can be very embarrassing from what I've heard. Be nice? Okay, there's a lot of other things that we can talk about. We don't have time. I want to close up with this, folks. I want to close up with this. If you are going to consume alcohol, I want you to plan ahead. All right? Plan ahead, thinking about it. What are my responsibilities academically? Do I have a test? Do I have an exam? Do I have to take class tomorrow? Okay, calm down, please. Okay. What are some of the other issues in making a choice to consume alcohol? What about my family? All right, what about my responsibility there? I showed this image once on a campus, and a guy in the audience yells out, "Dad!" I kind of leaned over to him. I said, "Listen, I'd like you to know something. My father was an alcoholic, his 2 brothers were alcoholics, and his sister was an alcoholic, and both of my grandparents on my father's side were alcoholics." I said, "I'm not particularly offended by what it was that you just said there." I said, "But you don't realize how many people you just hurt by saying that." See, in our country, it's about 1 in 4 families impacted by addiction. Okay? And up in the Northeast, and you're kind of here in the Northeast, it's 1 in 3 families impacted by addiction. And often it's not that street bum out there. Often it's that woman who leaves the kitchen table at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I don't bring any friends over to my house because I'm embarrassed as to what it is they want to see. Often the alcoholic is that bastard who's coming home at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up in my bedroom hiding because I don't know what kind of conditions are going to be in when he gets home. Some of you know what I'm talking about now too. This is another time during the program where it's real quiet. Again, if I'm making you uncomfortable about this because you know what I'm talking about based on experience, you got a lot of people around here that can help you out with that too. Because you might be carrying a little extra baggage here and get some help with that too. Right? But yeah, some other things to think about. If you're thinking about drinking, is it legal? Am I underage? What if I get a drinking and driving violation? What about my church? What does my church say? Do I believe in the teachings of my church? Right? What if I'm an athlete? How's it going to impact my practice? How's it going to impact my game? A couple of other things. Think about if you're going to make that choice. If you mix alcohol with a carbonated beverage, you're going to get more beer more quickly. That's why champagne goes right to your head. It forces the alcohol from your stomach into your small intestine so quickly. The carbonation does that. Right? If you're at a higher altitude, you're going to get more beer more quickly. Right on a plane out in the Rocky Mountains. We say halt. If you're hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, you probably shouldn't be drinking because you're going to get more beer more quickly. I suspect there might be 1 or 2 of you sitting out there going, "Thanks, Jim, but I'm going to get really wasted now. I'm going to have a fight with my boyfriend. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to jump on a plane, mix my vodka, and set it up to healthy orange juice so I'll get whacked." That's one way of taking the information. Not a lot I can do about it, but I know you don't want problems. So set yourself a low risk limit. Remember what I said, about 0.05 or so. All right, that little buzz place, it does not get any better than that. Alternate non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages. Kind of slow it down. All right? Arriving a little later, leaving a little earlier to the party. And sticking to your principles about sexual activity. That gets real tough when we're under the influence of alcohol. I want you to have fun. I want you to have fun. All right? Go to parties. The baseball team, they invited me to a party last night. I was at the party. I have a little video from that party that I told them I was going to bring over here. Crazy baseball players, stay away from them, they're crazy. College will be the time of your life. It's guaranteed. It's no question. It's the time of your life. Okay? You still want the time of your life to live the rest of your life. One last thing. I'm posting up my email address, my website, and my cell phone number. I have friends of mine say, Jim, you just use your cell phone number? I said, yeah, that's what the business is for. If someone's got questions, problems, I'll respond. I love doing it. That's pretty good. And I want to alert you though to a little problem though, is be careful about my phone number. This is not like those surveys. I can identify who it's coming from. All right? And about, it was 2 years ago, I was out in Minnesota, did an orientation there, and about 2 weeks later, I got a text. And the text said, do you know where I can score some weed for the weekend? Now, me being the smart-ass New Yorker that I am, responded, yes. What do you got? What do you got? I got some great Jamaican, I got some homegrown, I'll give them those. And how much? Where do you want to be? And we're going back and forth. And finally, I kind of gave it up to the guy, assuming he was a guy. Well, I don't know. I was just assuming he was a guy. I said, do you know who it is that you're texting to? He responded, no, this is my brother's cell phone, and you were listed under drugs and alcohol. So anyway, folks, thank you very much. Best of luck to you. Thank you. Come back and say hello.